You're listening to Life with DJ Sessions right here on WCSUFM.org.
Welcome back to Life with DJ Sessions. My NMLS number is 271823. Today's topic is that ugly F word, fraud. Okay? And I will tell you, I was very fortunate when I got into business in 2002. You know, I had a mentor. Well, he was my first manager, I would say. Not necessarily my mentor, but just my manager, who told me two things when I got into business. He said, DJ, you're going to have a long, successful career if you do these two things. And he said, always work really hard, and then always do the right thing. You know, no loan is worth your career. And I always remember that, right? I say that to say, you know, when I talk about the ugly F word, fraud, you know, it's out there. And I know I've always tried to pride myself on someone who catches it early on, or at least, you know, create a barrier, right? And so what I was interested in today's topic is because it's out there, right? It's in the news. You know, I follow some channels that there are some people that got caught up in some stuff. And, you know, and it reminds you that, yeah, even in today's world, right, this is 2023, fall of 2023, that people still want to, you know, do a sleight of hand and get over people, right? So I've kind of went through, of course, in today's topic, I wanted to say, you know, what's kind of the history of fraud, right? History of fraud examples, you know, spanning back as far as it can, you know, for mortgages, right? And so it's funny, this is kind of what I've got. I'm going to kind of be looking down and going back and forth here, but mortgage fraud has been a problem for centuries, okay, with various forms of fraud emerging as the mortgage industry has evolved, right? And here's kind of a top 10 notable fraud examples spanning back years ago, right? And so, and I say origins, but it kind of gave me the first one. It says, ancient Rome property scams. This is 20 BC to 476 AD, right? In ancient Rome, individuals used deceptive tactics to acquire properties, include fake titles, forged documents, and bribery to commit mortgage fraud, right? So this is happening long time ago, right? This is ancient Roman property scams. Then it gave me, you know, kind of roaring 20s, you know, real estate swindles, right? During the 1920s, the era of excess and speculation, mortgage fraud saw a surge, right? Speculators used straw buyers, inflated property appraisals to secure mortgages far exceeding the actual property value, right? And this was in the 20s, okay? Savings and loan crisis in 1980, right? One of the most significant financial scandals in the United States involving savings and loan associations where insiders engage in fraudulent lending practices, including making loans to borrowers with little creditworthiness, leading to significant losses for institutions. Subprime mortgage crisis, 2008. So I remember this, right? And it's, you know, the financial crisis of 2008 was partially caused by widespread mortgage fraud, practices such as liar loans, where borrowers provided false information and packaging of low-quality mortgage into complex securities contributed to a collapse of financial institutions, right? And I'll pause there for a second just by saying, so of course I remember this time I was doing mortgages during this time, and I remember there was a time, and I think the company that I was representing at the time, we had really good practices as far as making sure borrowers were creditworthy, right? So I was with a company and kind of going through those practices. But I do remember, and I want to say it was probably late 2006, there was a new guideline came out or something that said, hey, listen, if a borrower is doing, they're cutting grass on the side, right, and they're getting, let's say, $500 money for that, then we can use that information in the application. But there's no verification of it. Okay. Now, inherently, right, we talk about human nature. This goes back to 27 BC, right? If logically, if you truly cut grass on the side and you truly made $500 extra a month, and then that means you can then truly afford this loan that I'm about to give you, then yeah, that makes sense. But if you're not verifying this money, then I can tell you anything. So immediately I knew that I'm like, okay. And so, you know, so that obviously happened. And so anyways, it is what it is. Foreclosure rescue scams, right? 2000s to now. This is fraudsters target vulnerable homeowners facing foreclosure, promising assistance by charging exorbitant fees and often leaving the homeowner in even worse financial situation, right? This is a foreclosure rescue scams. I didn't know about that, right? Then you got identity theft and mortgage fraud. This is, again, ongoing. Identity theft plays a significant role in mortgage fraud today, where criminals use stolen identities to secure loans, leaving the victims to deal with the consequences, right? And that's a big deal, and I know, I would say since post-COVID, right, or even during COVID, a lot of things went online, and so you're working with people online. I remember that I hadn't really been in a situation where I would show up at closing and that would be the first time I'm meeting the people, right? I know back in the days, you got to know these people. You would, kind of verify some of the identity up front more. And so, yeah, I know there are steps in place. I know one of the things that I do, I offer FaceTime or Zoom is kind of part of a meeting, so I can at least see these people. Obviously verifying IDs. And really there's a lot of steps in place to kind of verify someone's identity, but it does happen out there. You've got then also builder bailout scams, right? During the housing bubble, some of the home builders inflated the values of their properties and used straw buyers to purchase them, often leaving lenders with high-risk loans when the market collapsed, right? Equity skimming. Fraudsters offer to take over mortgage payments from distressed homeowners, then use their property's equity for their benefit, leaving the homeowner unaware of the impeding foreclosure, right? I didn't even know these things. This is the stuff that goes out there. Illegal house flipping. This is, again, saying it's ongoing. Some individuals misrepresent the value of the property through renovations and appraisals, fraudulently inflating the selling price and securing larger mortgages to turn a quick profit. And then mortgage broker schemes. Dishonest mortgage brokers may engage in various fraudulent activities such as falsifying income documents, inflating property values, or encouraging borrowers to take out more loans than they can afford, right? And, and I'll kind of add to that by saying, one of the things I take very seriously is the ability to repay, right? The fact that this is the amount of money that you truly make, or at least that I've verified. And these are the liabilities that you currently have. And then these are also the assets you have to acquire. Well, then this is the reality of what you truly can afford. I get that it may not allow you to purchase what maybe you really want, but at the end of the day, you've got to play within the rules, right? You got to play the game as the way it's dealt, right? And I say that, play the hand that is dealt, but also play the rules of the game. And I say that because, we all started, ground zero, and we all have 24 hours a day to accomplish our goals, right? And so part of the reasons for this podcast or show or whatever you want to call it is to give people lessons in financial empowerment, right? And this is one of those lessons is literally saying, listen, and I'll give you an example of some of the fraud that I've encountered as far as trying to, talk to me about it, right? One probably most popular example would be trying to purchase a rental property, but saying it's their primary residence, right? And again, people know that you can't do that, but if you're going to come to me and try to get over me, it's not going to fly, because at the end of the day, I'm not risking my license. I'm not risking what I like. I sleep good at night. Okay. So it's not tolerated. And so, but here's the thing, there are rules in place to allow you to buy an investment property with not a lot of money out of your pocket, right? There are rules, there are certain programs out there to allow you to acquire property over time. You may not, again, be able to afford maybe on just yourself. Maybe you partner with a spouse or partner with a family member. At the end of the day, it's just not tolerated, right? And I leave with this, right? Just like where I started, right? No loan is worth my career. And I think it's also not worth you getting yourself involved in some shenanigans. Okay, again. So this again has been another lesson in financial empowerment. Have a good day.
You're listening to Life with DJ Sessions. Special thanks goes to Wade Oberlin of OnOurOwnRadio.com, Charles Fox, K-Divas Music Media, and the BDG Network. For more lessons in financial empowerment, stay tuned right here on WCSUFM.org for more Life with DJ Sessions.